Now, I want to invite our friend, Dr. Philip Ludwin, who will be the moderator of this panel and one of the panelists. The floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you for giving me the floor, but I think we should wait a while for our next guests, because Gabriel is one of our panelists. Misha Jurkovic from Serbia is available right now online via MS Teams. Hello, Misha. So do you hear me? Do you see me?
Everything okay, perfect. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry, Misha. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And Professor Grosse will be our panelist as well, and Professor Zbigniew Krysiak, or not? No, I have to. Yes, Professor Krysiak. So we have to. Okay, so guys, please take a seat here, and I think we can start. We can start to talk about a possible future for our region. I mean, the Central and Eastern Europe. And okay, so Professor Krysiak and Professor Grosse. So okay, perfect. So absolutely we can start right now. So, and the main topic and the main aim of our current panel is to discuss some possible new form of international cooperation in Central and Eastern Europe. In fact, that's a kind of tradition of the Schuman Trimarium Forum conferences. And I remember one panel 2 years ago that was at the first conference in Krasicin. The conference took place in Krasicin. And I remember Professor Grosse was one of the panelists as well. And Professor Krysiak too, I think. And I remember my question to the panelists, and I asked what do you think, guys, about a new international organization in Central Europe? Maybe we should have such a new form of international cooperation. Why not? And that was the very beginning of the whole discussion in our small community. And after that we continued that topic after the first conference. And 1 year ago in Krasicin as well, our vision of the future of our region was clear. Our goals and our project was obvious for all of us. And today we'd like to continue the topic, and why our today's panel is so important, because I can say that today, on Monday this week, a new non-governmental organization was established in Poland. The name of that NGO is Schuman Trimarium Forum. So the name of the organization is the same as the name of the whole conference. And the Schuman Trimarium Forum Foundation was established by Professor Krysiak, by Mr. Tomasz Pysiak, by Mr. Włodzimierz Osowski, by me. And Ryszard Krzyszkowski. Okay, sorry, Ryszard. I've forgotten your important role in the whole project. Few months ago, we have decided to establish a separate institution that will aim to promote the vision of stronger cooperation in Central and Eastern Europe. And one of our formal goals, indicated in our statute, is to promote a vision of new international regional organization similar to Nordic Council or similar to Benelux Union. And that's why today we devote a separate panel for that topic. And my first question to all of our panelists is as follows. So what do you think about such a concept? Do you agree or don't? I'm very interested in learning your opinion. Maybe what I can add, what can I add to that topic? So in Central Europe, after the fall of communism, we have experienced a lot of very fruitful and very promising international political actions. I can say political actions, because, for instance, Free Seas Initiative, we all know that project. Free Seas Initiative has no formal and legal framework. That's just a political agreement, important political agreement, quite stable, quite stable agreement, but that's just an informal political action. Free Seas Initiative has no formal bodies, has no formal institutions. Free Seas Initiative hasn't been established on a separate international agreement. The same story or very similar story applies to the Visegrad Group as well. So Visegrad Group is in a better position because Visegrad Group has one formal institution, that is International Visegrad Fund, but apart from having international fund, Visegrad Group is also a political action conducted from time to time. The story, the whole history of the Visegrad Group is quite complicated. That there were different phases, there were different periods of that cooperation, but that's not an international organization in a very legal sense. So I think that we live in such a time when we can and we should think about something new in our region. Why? Because we want to be better integrated. We want to be better prepared for current global challenges. And I think, in my opinion, if Free Seas Initiative has no legal framework, has no international bodies. If not, the Free Seas will fail very soon. I'm afraid of such scenario. So that's my short introduction. And as I told you, I'm very curious. What do you think? What do you think about it? So maybe Professor Tomasz Grosse, if I may ask you about your opinion.
Thank you very much for having me on this panel. It is, of course, very interesting subject and important for regional cooperation in our part of Europe. It is basically weak infrastructure, political infrastructure for collaboration among states from that part of Europe, described by you at the beginning of that panel. And we have at least 2 or 3 scenarios or patterns to change that situation. The first one is involve deeper in contemporary structures of collaboration in Visegrad Group as well as 3Cs initiative. I would add to your introductory remarks that 3Cs initiative has also own fund similar to Visegrad fund, but of course still it is maybe a very weak instrument in terms of amount of money and for sure it is very small to in comparison to or in relation to ambitious tasks which are set for 3Cs initiative. We had very interesting presentation at the first day of our conference. Miss Ambassador presented a very important framework for 3Cs initiative collaboration in at least three fields, including infrastructure that related to communication, digital, and energy. So it is quite ambitious, very costly perspective of collaboration. Own funds are very limited, and in fact, it is very important. Current stage of affairs is to deepen collaboration among member states included or belong to 3Cs initiative to exert more pressure on EU institutions to have more funds which could be directed to our purposes. So it is like a lobby collaboration which is strongly dependent on EU funds. But of course, it is some opportunity still to collaborate in that way, to have some more money to implement ambitious tasks. But of course, it is as well as weakness, because there are very limited own funds generated by the 3Cs initiative member states. So, but still, the first pattern is to deepen collaboration, and the prospect for such collaboration is huge in my view. Another scenario is related to the project that you mentioned, namely establishment of new framework, new organization, which could be more solid than the previous ones. But of course, it is also very risky prospect because we have no security that the next organization would be more solid than previous ones. But of course, it is some possibility. The most important, from my perspective, is to have political will to achieve some political decision among various governments, member states, that institution is really strong and institutionalized collaboration among our countries is very important. Nowadays, it is for me obvious that we don't want to abolish current European Union. We try to collaborate inside the EU. We want to focus on our needs, on our problems, and in any way, we don't want to challenge the EU as an international organization. We want rather to establish some framework to lobby for in the EU for our interests, common interests, to gather more funds, etc., etc. But of course, it was discussed in previous days at that conference. Also, such a scenario that if the EU in current shape would be destroyed or disintegrate simply, for us it is also a chance and need to sustain regional collaboration, because we have so many common interests that it is for us very important priority. In my last sentence, I would like to add that the huge challenge for any sort of collaboration, institutionalized, stronger or weaker, is, I would say, to some extent, democracy. Because we can observe that governments in our region, as in other parts of Europe, are changing, and that is a problem for regional collaboration. So we have no political culture, like for instance in Nordic or Benelux or states, or between France and Germany, that without political differences, except of political differences, including changing governments, our priority is collaboration, because it is the most important above of political differences, or some differences among political factions. So it is a huge challenge for us how to survive some changes in government. For instance, current Polish government dissolved institute devoted to Polish and Hungarian collaboration, which was political decision against former government, conservative government. But in my view, it is much more important to build solid institutions which are persistent on that political changes, like recently in Poland. So it is huge challenge and huge discussion how to omit this kind of risks and how to establish institution which could be could be stronger than political changes in particular countries.
Okay, so thank you very much for your extended opinion, and I fully agree with you that that our vision of the region is a challenge. In fact, that's a huge challenge to have such a political will and to omit all the risk, you know, connected with our project. Of course, that's a huge problem. I'm fully aware of that, and I know that our aim, our goals is not an easy task, but maybe what can I say? I would say that that you know, we almost all of us are scientists, and you know, we think about a conceptual and theoretical vision of such a project. You know, we are not politicians. We aren't politicians, you know, but we are scientists. And I think, in my opinion, you know, one of the goal of scientific activity is to promote such theoretical concept. After that, you know, main political actors, politicians, you know, will be able to think about it, will be able to discuss it, will be able to take into account in their political life. They will be better prepared to discuss such concepts. So I see our role. And you know, from the scientific perspective, I think it is enough. At the current state of the debate, it's enough, I think. Okay, so maybe if I may, I would like to address the same question to our Serbian guest, Misha Djurkovic from Serbia, our great friend. I know that Misha wanted to join us here, but unfortunately, because of the very tight schedule of Misha, Misha wasn't able to come to Zamość. But Misha, you are from Serbia, so you are from the country that is not a member of the European Union, and maybe because, you know, if we are talking about a new intergovernmental organization in our region, of course, we think about the organization that will be open, that will be accessible, that will be available, and not only for the European Union members. So as we all know, Freesis initiative gathers only these countries that belongs to the European Union as well. But in our vision, according to our vision, you know, new Trimarium organization will be available for all countries in our region. Not only the project is not addressed only to the European Union members. So maybe for your country, Misha, such project might be attractive, might be promising. What do you think about it?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Dzień dobry again, and first of all, thank you all for inviting me, Philip and Tomasz and Professor Kishak and all of you who have started this very noble and I think very important framework, let me say, for the time being, and hopefully even institutional framework within the possible future. So first of all, I apologize for not being able, as you said, I just returned from Dubrovnik a couple of days ago when we had some regional very good conference. And already today we are having a guest, Professor Kalis is coming, and I have to be his host in the next couple of days. So unfortunately, I'm not with you there. And I hope maybe next year to be physically able to join you and to meet colleagues personally. But I'm happy that I can be with you virtually, if I could say, in this digital cooperation, if I may joke a little bit. And on the other hand, I'm fully with you with idea and with emphasizing the importance of initiative. First thing which I would like to stress out is, of course, as you said, you are academician. You are people coming as, let me say, from the non-governmental sphere or in a vast, in a wider sense. But then again, I can testify you about many interesting initiatives that we had in the region, which eventually never succeeded to give us anything because they were not institutionalized. So, for example, I saw that there are also the flags of Bulgaria, Romania, and we have one of those initiatives. I mean, Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, and Serbia. And I think that only a couple of academic things happen, and that within very short amount of time, people forgot that there used to be this noble initiative. So my first, if I could say, note is that we should be working to push for institutionalization of this framework. And I think that the best way is really that the Visegrad Group, which is really functioning and de facto the core of our, I could say, political, geopolitical, but in many sense even academical and value-based core, should be working slowly to expand this framework to all the countries that are depicted in your initial presentation, which are so and which are happen to be a possible part of the Trimarium initiative. So what I wanted to add a little bit from my point of view and why this is important for Serbia. Well, Serbia and Serbian people generally, because we have now 2 million of Serbs living outside of the border of Serbia, is still having very, if I could say, mixed identity in the cultural sense. We are Balkans, above all, in many ways, but we are also Mediterranean country or people in a way. But I'm more than happy that in the last years, our Central European and in a broader sense, Eastern Central European identity is getting stronger and stronger importance for our public understanding, for our security understanding, and more value-based approach. In that sense, we are especially developing very strong collaboration with Hungary here and with our Hungarian colleagues. But we are more than open and more than interested to expand that to the whole Visegrad Group, and of course with all the countries that should be belonging to Trimarium initiative. I think that there are a lot of things that are connecting us and a lot of things that are really emphasizing our common interest in coming out as a one body, or let me say value-based in a broader sense initiative that can speak in these very turbulent times in which as we all know, we are unfortunately having a war very close to Zamość, where you happen to be at this moment. Then Middle East is really on the verge of exploding at this moment, and nobody knows what might really happen in the very close future. So in that sense, I think that, of course, we are starting as an academician, but generally, possibility that this could turn into some common political lobby group within EU, but within other general frameworks would be very important for us in many possible senses. So I will give just a couple of examples that probably some of the colleagues already addressed there, but I will speak from our perspective. This is, of course, the issue of energy. Not only because of the problems that Slovakia, for example, have because of the war in Ukraine nowadays, but it is affecting all of us definitely. And we know that this is really big and touchy issue. What should be the sources of the energy that we are using nowadays? So I think that first very good important framework should be exactly Intermarium initiative, in which we could speak about that and make some realistic, sustainable decision about how to organize, if it's possible, or at least to work on approaching our common perspective on those issues. That's one of very big things. Another, of course, is immigration issues. I don't have to tell you, you are now hosting millions of unfortunate people that are coming, especially ladies with the children, which is really in many ways affecting all the countries. And I think that not only lobbying in EU for some common projects and common means that should be encouraged, but I think that we should work all on common experience with that, because we also in Serbia have several 100,000 of people that are de facto evacuated as an immigrants, as refugees from Ukraine, and anti-war orientated immigrants from Russia, for example. So it really affected very much the whole public environment. We are all forced to start to think about how to address educational issues for those kids and so on and so on. I'm just popping several of the problems or issues that we are facing together nowadays, and that we would need maybe more serious, more common and more consecutive meetings to address all those issues. So another issue is, of course, education, which I'm combining with a very big issue just to mention about Istanbul Convention and everything that it had how it affected our laws and many of our things. And I was working on that for the last couple of years, and you could really see that somehow this is maybe the whole issue about ratification of Istanbul Convention was maybe something that mostly divided so-called Western or the old Europe from the new or Eastern Europe. In many ways, you could see that all the countries in Eastern Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, were having very strong opposition toward ideological issues that are imposed on us from the Brussels with the Istanbul Convention, because, as you all know, we have this experience with different levels of, now we could call that soft communism, that is directly affecting our tradition, our values, and finally our Christianity, which is today more important for our bloc. Even I can tell for our liberals in the Eastern and Central Europe are much less radical than people, adequate people in the Western Europe. So, for example, those issues like Istanbul Convention and common experience with refusing that would be very important basis for the further collaboration in juridical issues, academic issues, and even in political fora, if I could say. Finally, issue of the family, which is becoming more and more important for all of us, in defense of the traditional family, is also one of the aspects in which we could collaborate, especially where Serbia sees very big interest for the formats like Intermarium. Of course, security issue, which I started already, infrastructure, even sport, we could mention. There are many issues in which we see ourselves much more in common with Eastern Central Europe than, of course, with Western Europe, and especially, if, as you mentioned, the whole so-called Western Balkans, probably will not be joining EU within the next 10 years. I mean, we are already in the process for some of the countries already for 33, 34 years in the process of European integration. And we started already a little bit joking that we will be admitted into EU maybe directly after Turkey. As you all know, Turkey will probably never be a member of EU. So people lost faith very much in EU generally as a forum, and now all our countries are de facto developing themselves and trying to develop their strategies for the further economic, political, geopolitical, and especially political orientation, not really taking seriously in account EU, and nobody knows what might happen in the future. So in that sense, you are absolutely right. I think that we are having much bigger interest into these kind of the countries which are having the same experience and the same understanding of the role than, for example, Brussels or many of the actors that are functioning there. Finally, one more issue that I would like to address. Christianity and the issue of Christianity is very important for all of us, much more than it is for Western Europe. As you all know, we are now in the process of censuses which are showing that for the first time in the countries like France or I don't know, even Italy and so on, less than half of the population is defining itself as a Christian. Not to speak that even practicing Christian are much smaller number than it is shown. This is not the case with our countries. Christianity is very important for us, and I would like to address that interfaith or inter-Christian dialogue between Catholics, Orthodox people, and Lutherans and different Protestant denomination is very important, non-existent actually at this moment. And I will give you one very good example in which we showed how it can contribute with a very good results. For example, in Latvia, in 2017-18, Catholic bishop, our friend was leading public fight against the ratification together and with the strong support of Lutheran and Orthodox Church. And actually, unfortunately, in the meantime, they still succeeded to pass it, but they let me say, all three confessions at that time succeeded to make very strong public pressure and to prevent politicians, at least for some time, to ratify and to implement Istanbul Convention. I think this is a very good example in which interreligious dialogue and cooperation could contribute to all of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Great speech, Misha. So congratulations and thank you very much. And thank you very much for indicating so many things we have in common in our region. You've mentioned energy, education, family, Christianity. All of these topics are extremely important for our nations, for our countries, and that might be a common ground, a common basis for our region. You know, another argument for having a new institution, grouping and gathering countries of Central and Eastern Europe, and why your remarks are so important, because we know that Free Seas initiative is concentrated on some economic and infrastructural issues, mainly on infrastructure, communication, and so on. Of course, all of these goals are important. I have no doubt in this matter, but new organization will allow us to extend, the fields of cooperation in the region. So it will be a great opportunity to do that, I think, and that might be another advantage of new organization. But during your speech, I saw that Professor Krysiak was going to give a feedback, I suppose, to what you have said. So maybe Professor Krysiak now, and after that our friend from Slovakia.
Yeah, Professor Dziurkowicz, thank you for your speech. I'm just not going to comment your speech. Robert Schuman was thinking about the entire Europe. So the European Union is not the entire Europe. Robert Schuman wanted to, and want still, he's alive. He's not on this globe, but he is in heaven, but he is alive. He wants the community of European nations, and Serbia and many other countries belong to Europe. Today, Professor Margaret Crittenburg said we need to come to the Schuman Europe, to his model. So Schuman Trimarium Forum, this institution which was established, which was mentioned by Dr. Ludwin. Let me explain the name. Schuman is a bridge. So we think about entire Europe as a whole, as a community of European nations. So Schuman is a bridge. This bridge is between West and East. Without that bridge, we are not able to develop, to improve his ideas. We know European Union itself is in troubles. So this idea, Schuman himself said, will not become mature at once. Slowly, he said, slowly, step by step. It should go through the spiritual relationship, he said. And it may take 100 or 200 years. He was against to speed up because the human being are not the machines, are not the computers. So we face now the development, how this development of his idea to approach the community of European nations can happen, on which way. So for sure the European Union is not that what Schuman wanted. But we can say the European Union brought many positive things, but currently is heading into the wrong direction. So if Schuman would be in that room today, he would say, hey guys, we need to correct that. This means development, because we as a people being engaged in different projects, being engaged in our communities, our families, we know that from time to time, we just change the direction to the wrong direction. So we need to adjust that. So the Schuman Trimarium Forum, this organization, as I said, the first part of this name, Schuman, bridge. So this is this organization is just thinking about the entire Europe, because the Schuman is a bridge. Trimarium, the bridge from west, because Schuman is coming from west,
to the west, to the east. This bridge from west to east, to the Trimarium. The east is very wide, big area. The common history of the East, Central Europe, the common faith, the common, to some certain extent, different religions, long experience in the so-called, the kind of a union, Polish-Lithuanian, but this union, there was 200-300 years, and within that area there were many nations, many cultures. So we have longer experience compared to the European Union then. So, and we can say we are all the brothers of these guys on the West. We are all the brothers. And we say, look, we like Schuman. He came from Western, but he like him. So it means we like you, people from Western, we like you. This is a Christian and a Catholic message. So we go, like John Pope II said, we would like to go in the mentality of the Christians. We like you, doesn't matter who you are today. If you are lost, if you make many mistakes, we are as well not ideal people. We are as well in this region not ideal. There were wars on the Balkans, but we indicate in that name Schuman is going to unite us, to bring, as Professor Magritte said, peace, unity, solidarity, and peace. This is an implication, mathematical implication. Without unity, we are not be able to obtain solidarity. Solidarity is a more material issue, sharing different assets. And without solidarity is not we are not able to obtain the peace. So if we are not solidar, this is a warning sign. So if there is not solidarity, we can expect the war will arrive. So come back to the unity, to unite. So the Schuman is, and his idea, his model is that which is going to unite, to bring the solidarity and peace. So the bridge to the Trimarium and the forum. The forum, we mean entire Europe. Therefore, thank you, Mr. Dr. Djurkovic, that you said that the path to create a community of European nations probably is not going through this approach, which many people thinks, just to attract new members of the European Union. Because as you said, Serbia probably will not join over the next 10 or 15 years. So there is a question, in which way we can obtain the community of European nations? Because this is most important than just follow the model which is currently assumed by the European Union, that if you are okay, if we like you, we invite you as a member. But if we don't like you and you follow not that what we want, stay back. I'm sure if today Schuman rising a voice today, he would say, yes, Professor Krysiak, you're right. The more wider perspective and thinking is just to see how to obtain the community of European nations. So the European Union is a kind of a some step in that process. Some step that it doesn't mean it's
should go to the end in that model, in that way. So Freeze's initiative, as the word itself is saying, initiative, to initiate something, to initiate. So Freeze initiated some process, but it doesn't mean this model is that which is finished. This is not finished. This was the initiation, 10 years of these initiations, and the conclusion of many smart people, and as well the Excellency President, the ambassador said that we need institution. We need institutions for what? To make more efficient this process. Not permanent institutions, but institutions which will help to develop this direction to the community of European nations. So remember, do not assume that the model of European Union, by attracting new members, this is the best one. This is important. This is some important step. There is many positive things, but do not assume this is the way should be processed up to an end. And for sure, the Schuman didn't want to have a big state or super state. He wanted to have a community of European nations. So therefore, as the Freezes initiative initiated, we think that now is a time for to act, to create some institution which will just basically help to develop. Like Schuman, attracted many people of a goodwill. So the people of a goodwill are not, they do not exist only in Netherlands or Germany or France. The people of a goodwill are everywhere. They are in Serbia, they are in Bulgaria, they are everywhere. So we need to attract these people of a goodwill so that to increase the quality of the development of that community, of the entire Europe, in fact. Yeah, I just wanted to explain what is behind, and this ties back very much indeed to that what basically Schuman wanted to do, and this is kind of a as well suggestion. It's not a kind of a mature and permanent proposal. This is kind of a phase which is going, to improve the development, speed up development, and probably after a few years, we notice that we need to adjust something, to change, to add something. So exactly like Schuman worked, he never thought that the European in Europe we should have in Brussels the permanent institution. Schuman said this institution should be just for a time when they function are explored. He never just assumed that this institution should be like an institution in the state. So this is a very important, understanding what is behind that approach and direction. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Krysiak, and first of all, thank you very much for underlying the role and the position of Robert Schuman in our concept. We are fully aware that we need to have a patron, a patron, someone who inspired us, and someone who is able to inspire other people. And Professor Krysiak, I fully agree with you that Robert Schuman is a perfect patron. Is a perfect patron for our initiative. So and I think that that you know Robert Schuman is so universal thinker. I can say universal thinker. Universal for the whole Europe, and not only for Europe, but for the whole world, for all people of goodwill. So exactly, Robert Schuman is our patron, and we do our best to convince you to have Robert Schuman as your patron even in your private life. Okay, and we have 10-15 minutes, I think, because we begin. When did we begin our panel? 10, 4, 4:10, 4:50. So we were delayed. So I think 10-15 minutes for you, for our friend from Slovakia. So what do you think about our concept, about our theoretical framework? Is it attractive for you?
Maybe I will be not connected to this one project, but I will explain why. I will try to be short, but we cannot start with this second step with this project before after the, or let's say without the understanding of previous one, Free Seas initiative itself. I don't want to be a Slovako-centrist, let's say, but we are in the middle of the Europe, let's say geographically, so I will pick up this right, let's say, for me, and I will explain what is going on. Very shortly, Slovakia's perspective was not always clear cut, let's say so. Today we have, let's say, leftist, oriented government with Robert Fico again, with Hlas and the Slovak National Party. And if I check the, let's say, how this government written the statement about the initiative, 3C initiative, you will not see or find out any statement, official, let's say political one, in this document for period 23 till 27, if something will not happen. So for 4 years long government. And there is only one statement that the realization of the Solidarity Ring and East Ring project seems realistic. You know that these two projects are some of 7 or 8 projects which have been proposed by Slovakia in Free Seas initiative. Including them, we have also PW Energy, geothermal power plant, which is in Žarnad, should be in Žarnad, Hronom, and also in Prešov, where I'm coming from. What I wanted to say that Slovakia's politicians are afraid and are still afraid about the initiative itself, just because, and I don't want to describe because probably you know, because of political aspirations of Poland. This is the skeptical point of view of them. The second problem was identified, or I see that in public discussion, public discourse, or also scientific, it's missing this topic. Free Seas initiative itself doesn't matter if the first one or this second, let's say so, is missing. Just because, I don't know, maybe it's not, let's say, long running long term, perspective. Anyway, you mentioned that it is initiative, and it's good point because this is a future project oriented, let's say so, because it's oriented to energy, to infrastructure, and digitalization mainly. And let's say another part is, let's say, idealistic one. Not only, but idealistic because of Schuman, because of etc. So I think that we should, let's say, the synergic aspect together countries, but together also idealistic with realistic version, because this first one is, let's say, hard skill, or let's say hard oriented, because we need this infrastructure. We can talk together without these cables. Yeah. So these projects are also oriented, for example, for building data centers, for securitization of data centers, for making this more secure because of threat of Russia, for example, yeah, attacking hackers, etc. We were talking together on the dinner, yeah, with colleague from Lithuania. Based on that, Slovakia position was that the government, or let's say Slovakia itself, and private sector, or let's say these people who wanted to be involved in this project, are oriented maybe on smaller one, because maybe of risks. I'm not sure. But these projects are also very expensive, like PW Energy, which already will help to people around Prešov, and we have sources. You know, European Union now starting batteries, Green Deal, etc., etc. Yeah, opinions, we can make a dispute, but geothermal energy is cheap. Let's say so. Okay, excluding how expensive is this technology, know-how, how to build it. Yeah, it takes a lot of money. But what I wanted to express is that afraid, or let's say we will not go to this initiative or just break, and political aspirations. So we are going from somewhere behind. Yeah, and also summits have been not in Slovakia, in these countries, presidential summits, in countries which have been the key players. Let's say move. Yeah, so we will organize it, and Slovakia in the background. Let's say so. So skeptical maybe view. Conclusion, you mentioned fund, yeah, and Visegrad Fund, Visegrad Group. Visegrad fulfilled the let's say the idea itself some years ago, because we entered to European Union already, but politicians also had, not only them, had the question, okay, it will terminate, or we will continue, but for why? Yeah, coordination, communication, for example, training of soldiers, whatever. Yeah, we have floods here, yeah, in Czechia, in Slovakia, in Hungary. So how to coordinate more these, you know, units and troops to help people, yeah, and so on. So this one project is, let's say, future oriented, and the idea itself is really good. But what I, maybe not me only, identified as a problem is a communication of politician itself, because I think the pressure from this part is very necessary. Not only for reasons for funding, yeah, how many country will contribute to the fund itself, because there were also fear about the financial institutions like European Investment Bank and EBRD, that they have been missing, yeah. So some professionalism, yeah, some guarantee, etc. Visegrad fulfilled its own aim. What else? It's carrying on. Now this is something new, something, I don't want to say similar, because we have or it has a clear statement to build infrastructure, and mainly to build it from the north to the south, yeah, seaports, etc. This is ring via Carpathia, for example. I don't want to be skeptical, but I must be, just because this is, let's say, confronting not only with politician wish, or let's say initiative or pressure, but the practice itself. For example, Poland made its own decentralization project, not project, but decentralization process, really, really good. Yeah, this process of decentralization and how bureaucracy can be decreased, etc., etc. Yes, so going bottom. In Slovakia, unfortunately, we have still problems, and we are facing, for example, problems with small villages that they are not able to, you know, economically, because of demography. I'm returning back now that there was mentioned demography. I told it about the university position. But okay, Visegrad has some label, history, etc. This is something new. I think the most important will be communication towards people. Maybe I'm skeptical one, but if I could make now a research during next week with some methodology and to ask people in Slovakia how many you know about Trimarium, or let's say Free Seas Initiative, probably 99% will tell me that what's going on. Yeah, so communication is missing. This must be not only in media, but also in political, let's say, focus. And you mentioned, and I will finish because I don't want to grab the time to myself. You mentioned fund, joint secretariat maybe. The proposal is that it should be somehow flexible, just to not concentrate it somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter if Warsaw, with Bratislava, or geographically, or Prešov, yeah, the horrible one, maybe. So that's one point, and maybe there was mentioned when we had this meeting, yeah, private one, it would be appropriate to improve the official, for example, website of Free Seas Initiative itself. Yeah, I'm speaking the first one, because when you open it, there are lack of information, let's say so. But also we should ensure professional, let's say, translation of documents into the national languages, for example. Yeah, you have done. Yeah, for example, about Schuman, these, papers or documents. And maybe this advertising. This is missing, for example, I think so. So make it somehow better, yeah, this communication to, or make a brand advertising, better branding advertising, because this is also connected not only to Free Seas Initiative, but it's somehow, let's say, para-diplomacy, yeah? When we are talking about cross-border cooperation, have to improve these cooperations between villages from both sides. Doesn't matter, Polish, Slovak, there were some projects. So this one, so forms of public diplomacy to message, yeah, this, to spread this information about Free Seas Initiative, and also be careful, or let's say avoid the situation of threat, because I think this is the key point, that who is the key player in Free Seas Initiative? That Poland, for 100%. Yeah, and this threat, not threat, but afraid, which, or fear in not only politicians, maybe in public, that it has some, let's say, political aspirations. Yeah, so this one, promoting branding, and finally, what you said, I think this is the project, doesn't matter, first, second, about the synergy effect. Together we can make it better. Also, this is the same message and also the same history, or let's say the story, the same fairy tale, let's say so, of Visegrad Group. Together we have been able, doesn't matter what was happened during Mečiar period, yeah, that we have slowed down and we need to, be faster then. But this fairy tale had, let's say, optimistic one end. What is standing in front of Three Seas Initiative? Let's say, make some. Okay, we have some three pillars, let's say so, or other. What we will do if it will be fulfilled, and then bring together. Yeah. So Schuman is a bridge. So don't focus or don't focus or concentrate only on hard skill, but we need to make this soft skill, let's say so, yeah, to bring scientists to make projects which have idea, which have common sense, let's say, yeah, from different perspective, because we are facing this problem, and I will really finish. What's going on the border, and it's connected to the border itself. Doesn't matter, yeah, Belarus, Ukraine. I mentioned it, and maybe it's skeptical, and maybe some will not agree with me, but I think that border will be somehow, it seems to happen, and we need to be prepared. did we or were we prepared some years ago when the gas consumption, or let's say gas problem erased, how to say it, started, beginning, yeah? We haven't been prepared. Now this diversification, yeah, we are doing on that. But we need to be prepared for some, let's say, soft skill situations, because tangents. You mentioned also Balkan, yeah. Slovakia had, I think, was a key player in making solutions after the war. Minister Lajčák, yeah, just bringing people together to round table and make some solutions and keep it in, let's say, in good conditions. So I think that we are facing, for example, this migration. So, but what we will do with that? Yeah, because we are mixing. It's connected also to demography. Yeah, it's Christian values. Everything is very interconnected. But seems that these realistic problems which we are facing, infrastructure, employment, disparities regional, are still after 20 or 30 years of existence, for example, in Slovakia, are still there. I traveled now to Zamość, where we are with highway to round towards Poland. Nowhere. We are just preparing highway around Prešov, luckily. But what about Szaryski Ściałnik, the main and the most important road from the north, from Poland, crossing Slovakia, and we haven't infrastructure. We are slow because of bureaucracy, because of this decentralization wasn't good prepared, and so on and so on. So I think, and I don't want to be very skeptical, but I think that Slovakia should more be flexible in this, let's say, making solutions. Yeah, we are still have gaps. Maybe Poland, Poland, sure, for not. You haven't, and you are progressing. Politicians are have meeting, and they will say, okay, we are in hurry, and the second side will say that, okay, we need to make more progress, but we are still, let's say, struggling and somewhere, and we need it. We really need it, because, for example, in Prešov itself, who could say that 20 or 30 years, maybe there were some prognostic yet, but who could imagine that in every family, maybe each member will have a own car, yeah? And now this is under pressure, everything. So not only lorries, yeah, but cars. So we have an infrastructure, and it makes some problems. Problems which are connected to corporations, which are connected to investments in these countries. So this is a very complex, let's say, picture. But I think that these two should be together. These two should be together. This, let's say, hard and soft, and they must have a synergy between together. Yeah, my opinion, and what I said, more promotion and also pressure from political level.
Okay, so thank you very much for what you have said, and you are absolutely right that the problem with that there is a lack of good communication related to the Free Seas initiative and, or generally speaking, to all Intermarium affairs. Yes, that's a huge problem, and Free Seas initiative unfortunately has failed in this matter. So and you know who is guilty? Unfortunately, Polish government. Former Polish government. Unfortunately, maybe our right-wing politicians didn't understand correctly, the role and the role of good communication in this matter, and that's why we decided to have our own NGOs, to fill that gap, to do something with that problem. And one of our goal is to promote the vision of more integrated and more collaborated Central Europe, because we see such needs, to say about it, to talk about it, and so on and so on. Not only in Poland, of course.
Sorry, just two sentences, because you mentioned NGOs. What is the situation? Maybe you know, maybe not, in Slovakia, maybe in other countries, maybe in Europe also. I don't know. Our government now, and I don't want to be rude or offensive against them, but this is a very strong language against NGOs because support of Soros, etc., national-oriented, let's say, language, in front of media, nationalist one, protectionist one. So very, very, let's say, oriented against not NGOs together, but which NGO, what are they concentrated on, which projects. So maybe this will be also another point, skeptical. Now, these are our conditions now. So reduce amount of money to NGOs, doesn't matter which one, So I need to express my skeptical, let's say, point of view, towards situation we are now facing.
Okay, I see. So for sure we'll continue our talk, and I know that Professor Grosse is going to add something.
Thank you very much for highly important and interesting discussion. I would like add or sum up our panel to some extent. My first, I would like to say two things at the end of that panel, if I can. The first one, I repeat my first remark related to very deep political polarization inside each of our countries. So it is a huge challenge for us how to be waterproof for that kind of political polarization, which could demolish our regional collaboration. So I can see today highly important framework of our participants in that conference. But basically, we are rather conservative or Christian Democrats than left or liberal participants. So, it is difficult for me to observe that left-wing or liberal circles could create similar patterns to ours conference, to our today's conference. So it is huge challenge how to organize our civic societies which could support institutions important for regional collaboration, which could survive political change in some member states, governmental shift. So it is first remark. The second one, I would like to agree with Professor Krysiak in two aspects. The first one, that we should be open for non-member countries, I mean from outside the EU. And it is first, and at the same time, Schuman example for European collaboration, or the starting point of Schuman thinking about European collaboration was reconciliation between French and German. So two important, highly important countries for Western European integration. it is quite obvious for me that the same importance for collaboration in our region has reconciliation between Poland and Ukraine. So there are two crucial states from the point of view of geopolitics to be some motor, some engine for further collaboration in our region. And it is not unexpected outcome that Western European integration started between France and Germany, and not, for instance, between Luxembourg and Belgium. It is quite obvious from geopolitical point of view. If we want to deepen collaboration in eastern part of the EU or Middle and Eastern Europe, two most important countries should collaborate. It is Poland and Ukraine. And it is, in my view, both agreement, what Professor Krysiak has said. The first one, that we should be open for outsiders. The second, Schuman is our patron. And Schuman, if Schuman would like to be successful in our region, he should look for reconciliation between Polish and Ukrainians.
So just you listed three key words: reconciliation, support, cooperation. So this reconciliation basically applies to many sites on Balkans as well. So reconciliation, support, cooperation. So the Schuman Trimarium Forum organization would like to be supportive organization. So, I mean, the adequate and the equivalent way Schuman expressed that, what you said, Professor, interesting idea what you said. Schuman expressed in a following way: unity, unite, solidarity, and peace. So this seems to be applicable today as well.
Okay, so thank you very much, and I think we have to finish our panel, and I'm fully convinced that Professor Krysiak has made a great summary of our vision, of our concept, of our thought for our region. So we'll keep you posted about our initiative, and I hope we stay in touch. So thank you very much. Misha, so thank you very much. We stay in touch, and I hope we'll be able to meet. That's my my mistake. So of course you are there, Misha. So Misha, we stay in touch, and of course after our conference, you know, I will send you a short summary and indicate some possible further steps, because of our new initiative. I think you might be interested in supporting us, or in staying in touch. So thank you very much, Misha.
Of course, thank you very much, and just wish you a successful continuation with this, and hope to see you in Belgrade personally, and to continue to spread academic Intermarium cooperation. All the best to Dziękuję.
All the best. Take care. Thank you.
the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to listen to panel Schuman Academy, What Should to Tracy's Community of Nations Look Like in the Eyes of Young People according to Schuman's idea. Robert Schuman valued diversity, so I will ask the speakers to each say a few words in their language. It is my pleasure to introduce the following speakers. Faustyna Fonfara, Vice President of Science, Schuman Creative Leaders, student of Psychology at the Catholic University of Lublin. Cześć Faustyna, co u ciebie?
Cześć, dziękuję, wszystko dobrze. Bardzo się cieszę, że mogę tutaj być w Zamościu razem z wami.
Thank you, Faustyna. Georgi Germesashvili, teacher at American International School Progress and member of the political party Lero for Georgia. Gamarjobat Georgi, Rogorahar.
გამარჯობა, მადლობ, კარგად ვარ. პირველ რიგში დიდი მადლობა, რომ კიდევ ერთხელ მომიწვიეთ და ძალიან მიხარია, რომ აქ ვარ. I can also translate. Hello, thank you for inviting me here. I'm so happy to have a chance to talk with you.
Thank you. Paweł Zajnalow, student of the Catholic University of Lublin. Cześć Paweł, jak się masz?
Cześć. Albo jak to się mówi w języku kraju, z którego przyjechałem, assalamu alaikum. Mening ismi Pavel. Man Toshkentdan tug'ilganman, O'zbekistondaman, ketman. Ja pochodzę z Uzbekistanu, urodziłem się w Azji Środkowej, chociaż mam korzenie słowiańskie, między innymi polskie, ukraińskie. Przyjechałem tutaj 3 lata temu, studiuję na KUL, stosunki międzynarodowe. Akurat dzisiaj przyjechałem może 2 godziny temu po obronie licencjackiej. Dzisiaj miałem obronę i od razu jestem tutaj z wami. Miło was wszystkich spotkać.
Thank you, Paweł. I ask the speakers to say a few words about themselves in English. I ask Faustyna to speak first.
Thank you. So my name is Faustyna, and I'm doing Master of Psychology this year and a Bachelor of Italian Philology. So it will be really challenging year. And that's it. I'm focusing on that stuff. Thank you.
Please tell us a few words about yourself, Georgi.
My name is Georgi Germesashvili. I'm from Georgia, and right now I'm working, teaching in the American school, American International School. I'm teaching social studies, civic, and AP comparative governance and politics. I have graduated to Tbilisi State University, a bachelor's degree in political science, and that's all I can say about me.
Thank you. Please tell us a few words about yourself, Paweł.
Okay, as I said, I was born in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. I have been living there for 18 years, and after I became mature, I turned 18. I came to Poland, where I live here already for 3 years. I'm a stipendist, like stipendista po polsku. I'm a stipendist of the John Paul II Foundation in Lublin, and also a student of International Relations faculty at Catholic University of Lublin.
Okay, I have first question. Faustina was at the Schuman Trimarium Forum in Krasichin, where the idea of establishing a Robert Schuman scientific group was born. Faustina, we talk about the ideas and concepts implemented recently. Faustina, what initiatives have you managed to implement after the previous forum that contribute to your mobilization?
Thank you for the question, and thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to be here with you all. It's a gorgeous moment to see people again who I met 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 2 years ago in Krasichin during Schuman Trimarium Forum. And it's a pleasure to meet new people who came here from different parts of Europe and who found out that about this initiative and decided that it's worth to use this chance in order to enrich ourselves with the new knowledge, tools, experience, and relationships. We are not here due to the school duty or because of somebody forced us, I guess, but because we are young leaders, exactly, who want to create a beautiful world around us by using their skills, competence, gifts, resources to develop themselves and fulfill ourselves with the positive energy. Because being here among so many impressive leaders, it releases a lot of oxytocin, a hormone of happiness. We are completely different, but we can communicate, share our ideas, support each other, talk about our own country's culture, and invite each other to our home cities. And it's beautiful. During last year, I was in 10 countries, taking part in different European youth projects, attending meetings, leading workshops, and I've met a lot of youth who daily choose to be active, to put efforts, to represent their own countries, to reach out to people. And it's really inspiring for me and motivated to be one of them, to be one of you. And for example, after last year during Schuman Trimarium Forum, I've met people, and it occurred that they are from the same city, from the same university, and we were so inspired by Schumann's idea of building strong community based on certain values that we discussed yesterday. That we decided to start science circle, science club in our university called Schuman Creative Leaders. And after around 2 months, with the help of our mentors, Professor Zbigniew Krysiak, Tomasz Pysiak, and Ryszard Krzyszkowski. Yes. We organized Schuman Summer Academy that lasted 3 days. We invited experts and leaders with the big experience from different fields. And it was a really valuable time. We have learned a lot, and we are going to use the skills in the future by being active. For example, organizing events or workshops for the youth in the schools. And our club was established precisely with the intention of creating the environment for the youth who want to be active, who want to take the chances and grow in the community that have the same values, the same goals to develop their own potential, and who support each other. Now we have a lot of ideas, and we are working on other projects, for example, connected with mental health. And it's amazing that we have impact on such important things that we have voice. Also, we plan to organize a workshop for leaders in order to gain knowledge about some tools and to learn how to use it. And I think it could be the response for the problem that we discussed yesterday about leadership crisis. I think that in our community, the leaders are improving, growing, the future's leaders. So I'm really happy to be among such extraordinary people. And I see that you every day do a lot of work, a lot of good work. And I feel really inspired. And it's beautiful that we youth have so many ideas, plans, and big potential and a strong background in the form of experts around us who are eager to help us, to show us the right direction, give advice. For example, who organized this symposium where they share with us their previous experience and knowledge. So I would like to encourage you now to ask yourself two important questions. What are you good at? What are your strengths? And second, how do you want to share it with others, with the world? Thank you.
Thank you, Faustina. The next question will be for Georgi. Georgi, share insights on the challenges young people face regarding their mobilization and active participation in social and political life, as well as the steps Georgia is taking to involve its youth in the values and initiatives fostered by the Three Seas region. Georgi, what challenges do young people in Georgia face regarding their mobilization and active participation in social and political life?
Thank you for such an interesting question. I have to admit, I mean, who doesn't like to talk good for their countries? But I have to admit that there is a serious problem in Georgia when it comes to mobilization of young people in politics. There is unfortunately a low political participation. For example, even in elections, so many people who are coming to elective districts are those who are getting pensions and older than 40 years. So of course, this is making youngsters out of the politics. But I think it has its reasons. For example, the government from their side isn't doing anything to change anything for good. Also, there's a problem with immigration. So many young people in Georgia are trying to go other countries to find better life, better working conditions, and of course more money. And unfortunately, these things combined creates a very bad situation for youth participation in politics. But this year, I have some hopes. Maybe something will be changed. That's what I wanted to say about the participation, youth participation in Georgia.
Thank you, Georgi. The next question will be for Paweł. Paweł will talk about how institutions can help young people with their initiatives. Paweł, how can governments and institutions support youth-led initiatives that promote regional integration according to Schuman's ideas?
Thank you for opportunity to speak. I would like to remind that that we're doing now is already something. What is worth doing that is the beginning, it's the smaller steps by which we are starting now. Last year, I had opportunity to participate in modeling of United of the European Union Parliament in Brussels, and I met a lot of young people, my age, your age, from practically every country of Europe. And what I noticed that mostly when I asked them about the patriarchs, let's say the fathers of European Union, they didn't remember about them. So the main thing what we as young leaders should do is do everything what we can where we are now. What is in our possibility? To use all the power we have for the moment, where we are. Is it school, higher school, or university, institute, our working place? We have to promote that values by our lifestyle. It's not only the words on the paper, which we proclaim during these events, let's say. But every day we have to remember about that, that we are part of this organization. Every week or twice in a month, or maybe once in months, we have our meetings, we have our groups where we can motivate ourselves by the examples of our friends. What can also do organizations, local government organizations and non-government organizations, is to support us young leaders, our members, by some financial help. Of course, is the basis of everything, because everyone understands that without that we cannot do a lot of things. But we have ambitions and we have potential to do that. Also, consolidation and giving us the understanding that we're not alone. That in every city, not only in our region, we have young people with similar things, with similar lifestyle, also values, as I said. The heart of Schuman's organizations are, for the moment, at students world at universities, and from this part it will start to the others, to the other part of new generation. So we have for the moment already this helping, and we are thankful for that for the moment. And by these meetings like we are organizing right now, we're hoping that we will be noticed by new different organization, non-government organization, also governmental organization, who may help us, to provide, to bring these values, to renew new generation of Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will be for Georgi. What steps in Georgia taking to engage its youth with the values and initiatives of the Three-Seas region?
So for the previous question, my answer was kind of negative, I guess. So I would like to bring some good news too. As I know, one of the main values of this initiative is to have good connectivity and network, right? With networking, I can say that Georgia is actively engaged in Erasmus projects, which is giving good chances to youth to have contact with other Europeans and to get closer. Also, I would like to say that this year, early this year in 2024, Georgia, also Hungary and Romania signed a deal which is about to start new projects, for example, undersea cables, which would bring electricity from Caucasus to Europe. And also, Georgia and Romania signed a memorandum, so the countries would be more economically closer and cooperative. But I also need to add that I don't really know how Georgia is going to do this because the ruling party and the government failed the hugest project of Georgia. This is Anaclea deep sea port, which would be so cool for Georgia, for Georgia's economy. And the government didn't give a chance to the US and to Europe to build this project in Georgia. And instead, right now, they are bringing Chinese investors, and they believe that China will do everything the best, which I really doubt. Okay. So unfortunately, right now, there are no many things which are done by the government to make a situation better in terms of development with values of Robert Schuman and the Friedrichs Initiative. But I believe in the future, if we change the government, we'll have the better views and better policy too. And I also want to add this is also partially linked with the previous question. Unfortunately, for many years, youngsters in Georgia believed that there are no parties existing in Georgia which are representing ideas and wills of young people. And they believed that protests would bring the results always. And it was like that till this year. But this year, the government finally showed the real face and told us, no, we are not going to listen to your protests. So we will do everything what we want. And I hope this year in October 26th, youngsters will go to elective districts and will vote to other parties. So I hope the situation will be changed in Georgia for better. And I do really hope that place of Georgia is in Europe, in also in Three Seas Initiative, because Three Seas Initiative is a continuity of idea of Intermarium, isn't it? Yes. And General Pilsudski believed that Georgia's place was also in this union. So I really hope for the better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgi. And last question for Paweł. Paweł, what actions should be taken to better promote the idea of the 3Cs among young people on an educational level?
Thank you. First of all, we should increase the political education since the middle school up to university and the whole life of every person, because with the growing of political identity, political education, we also see how growing is governmental society. And the second thing we have to teach our young groups, our young leaders how to take part in Erasmus projects, and first of all how to prepare that projects, plans for that projects to achieve that money from the European Union funds, because there are a lot of them, but unfortunately many of our initiatives, I mean on the universities level, they are finishing at the like fantasy level. We don't release it because we don't have a information how to create it, how to increate it in reality. The third point is to know very well, every one of us who is participating in 3C's initiative and also in Schuman's groups, know very well what are we talking about. Everyone should doskally like read at least one book about Robert Schuman to know which ideas we're proclaiming, because maybe somebody don't really understand. I mean the newest guys who are trying to connect with us, to join our groups, our initiative. They don't understand very well what's going on. It looked pretty cool, that map, that stars. We see this cross, and maybe somebody of them can be afraid of this cross, for example, or they're just like fundamental Catholics or fundamental like Christians. But we have to bring these ideas of Schuman, of the fathers of European Union, in the right way. So by this way, these young people may understand nowadays what that ideas means for today generation. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's time for question from the audience. If you have any question, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you for all the interested voices, but I would like to refer to the last voice, about, sources to present, to share with the young generation about who was Schuman, what he wanted, and as well nowadays, how we can apply his purposes. So I would like to say that we have in Polish a very short book about Schuman, the blue one. This is a really very short story, and I think very useful. So my suggestion is that you get initiative to translate this book in Georgia, in many other countries. So you just suggest your friends from Trimarium region. Let's just translate. So for you as well, this will be a challenge, right? In the process of translation. My experience, anything I'm translating, I'm learning much, okay? So this is my suggestion. The next suggestion is, you see the Professor Margaret Crittenburg. She wrote the book, which we in the process of translation from English, but you can have the copy of the PDF in English version. So what is Professor Margaret is doing? She's, organizing a certain meetings, lectures with a young people in your age, right? For not only in Netherlands, but from many countries, even from Asia. And she's, talking them about Schuman. it seems to be that she's very successful. And she asked them then to prepare some projects. For instance, how to apply after she is, let's say, teaching these young people about Schuman. She asked them to write a project to implement the Schuman idea in the area of economy, in every areas. So she has many, projects in a written road by the students. So we can link, we can create a relationship. You can just develop the relationship with the students, which are in Netherlands and in other countries. And we spoke today about the idea to basically accommodate this kind of well, not lectures, but this kind of meetings to the countries in this region. Okay, so I'm just informing you about your opportunity and capacity of that nice woman, right? And because this is she do that since many years. And since the students in Netherlands and in other countries as well from the Asia, they understand what she's talking. She's talking about the Schumann even in India. Okay, could you imagine? Not only to students, but as well to the small children. Okay, so I'm just, delivering you the kind of information where you can, what you can use and where you can explore. But thank you very much for you raise the voice, and this is important that you yourself you are comfortable, which we're comfortable with the understanding and the knowledge, and then your language, because this is important to talk to your peers in your language, right? So it's a different when I am talking to you. Some of you were very nice, listening to me. Thank you. But this is a different and important than you talk in your language to your peers. Thank you just for getting this chance.
Someone have any question?
Thank you very much for your really very nice stories. I really like them very, very much. And I can tell you that, yeah, our students, they also like to do what you do. I'm very curious how you came about, how did your group arise? Like a scientific group. How did this come about? I mean, who decided to start all this? Esther, can you say something about it, or is that a difficult question?
Is actually our scientific group. Some members of it they are here, Polina, Mikhail, but Pavel and Georgi, they are not in our scientific club because it's in Lublin, in Poland. So we are from different.
Yeah, no, that I understood, but I know that you at your university, John Paul II, university, you get together with a group and you have mentors. I heard also, so they encourage you. And no, I was just wondering, how did you get within your university? How did you get together? I mean, how did you find out this idea of okay, let's start a group, a scientific group?
Yes, after Forum Trimarium Schuman in Krasicin, we just were so inspired and that we wanted join our strength and meet often and create something together to have the ability to develop because when we are alone it's really hard to find some opportunities, but if one person tell another that this such kind of opportunity, another person tell about it others, we have a range, wide range of choice, and that's why we really wanted to collect all of this, to combine and to work, develop together.
Okay. Okay. I cannot promise anything yet, but I think because we will start again with a group in Holland with 60 students from all over the world, and they will be working in groups of 10. So perhaps there can also be a scientific group. That I don't know, but perhaps we could also get in touch with you then, so that they can also share their ideas with you.
Yes.
If you would be open to that, that would be very nice. I think.
Pleasure. Really.
Yeah.
Honor.
And about the thing of I don't know if you like it. You like it is not. I don't know. Something else. What I just heard, what Professor Krisiak was saying about India. You know, the thing is to give also. Okay, in India we did it also for high school and for high school students from the age 11 till 13. They read the children book and they knew everything about Schumann. Everything, every question I asked, yes, they knew. They were nearly with their hand against the ceiling, like that. So that was. They were younger than you were. That I know. But I mean, but what I want to say with this is that also in The Hague, we also did it with students going to primary school, So then there were the students talking about Schumann to the little ones. And so then they told the story of Schumann, and later on, they were asking questions about Schumann, and then you had the same thing. But then students were asking the questions. This time I was asking the questions, So you could also, once you know a lot about Schumann, but it's also nice, and it counts also for you, Georgi. You can do that in Georgia, that you go to the elementary school and you also tell them about Schumann. And the kids are really very much interested. They love it because he is very engaging. And he inspires to many projects, also social projects. We also do a lot of social projects with the students. So there are plenty of opportunities. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just like to add that we today met with many professors from different universities in this Trimarium region, and we came up with some certain idea, and you can accept or reject, for in the future, that there is opportunity to organize a conference in Strasbourg, in the European Parliament, where you will be as speakers. Okay, so some papers or prepared, speeches about Schumann, and this conference would be under the name Schumann Europe. So this is a kind of a chance you can use, up to you.
Thank you. Someone have any question? Okay, thank you. I would like to thank two speakers for their presentations. Thank you very much.